I have one simple word or one simple phrase to describe what you're about to watch in this video. Holy actual crap. Pierre Poilievre, quite literally on the House floor today during a heated debate, tells Justin Trudeau that you should quit your day job. This is insane, and it doesn't break parliamentary privilege. It doesn't break any rules. It's 100% allowed, and it's going viral, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage everyone to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel, and if you want to get yourself a Wacko Trudeau Has to Go sticker, which I have promoted many times on this channel and the other channels, then you can find the link for that down in the description or the pinned comment below. Here is the clip. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP leader was just asking about why the Prime Minister gave tens of millions of dollars in corporate handouts to powerful grocery chains. So the answer, of course, is that he voted to let the Prime Minister do that. Not a single penny of that money could have gone without the vote of the NDP coalition partner. But we learned something else, that this might have been due to the influence of the NDP leader's spokesman and brother, whose company is a lobbyist for Metro. Would the Prime Minister support an investigation into whether or not the NDP leader's spokesman and brother has been unduly influencing the leader of the NDP?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we can see very clearly that all the stories out about the lobbyists' connections with the Leader of the Opposition are actually hurting the Leader of the Opposition, which is why he's asking those questions of the NDP. But he has an opportunity right now, Mr. Speaker, to make it clear that he stands with Canadians and stands to ask the wealthiest to pay a little more by announcing now that he will support our measure on increasing the capital gains imposition on Canadians, asking the wealthiest to pay a little bit more. He has dodged that question since the budget came out. Does he support the increase on the capital gains inclusion rate?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I do support the Prime Minister paying more tax on the trust fund where he sheltered all of his money. Absolutely. He doesn't, unfortunately, support his own policies. That's why he won't put them into a budget bill. But one tax he is increasing is the carbon tax on food. He's doing it with the help of the NDP. We already have the second highest carbon tax in the entire developed world. And yet, if the NDP Liberal government is re-elected, they plan to quadruple that tax to 61 cents a litre on the farmers and truckers who bring us our food. How will Canadians afford to eat, heat, and house themselves?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Canadians saw that he avoided pronouncing on whether or not he supports our increase to the capital gains inclusions rate. But in regards to his deflection onto carbon pricing works. We are on track to meet our emissions for the first time in any government in Canadian history. And Canadians get more money back in their pockets thanks to the Canada carbon rebate. And families are using that rebate to help pay their bills and plan their monthly budgets. Meanwhile, the Conservative leader continues to oppose every measure we put forward for both affordability and fighting climate change.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister, just like his carbon tax, is not worth the cost. The tax is already up to 17 cents a litre, higher than he promised it would go. And he plans to quadruple it further to 61 cents a litre. This after it is a proven environmental failure. Canada ranks 62nd out of 67 countries when it comes to fighting climate change.
Oh my God.
This is precisely because what he has is a tax plan and not an environmental plan. Will he stop? Why won't he adopt our common sense plan for technology and not taxes?
Wow.
The Right Honourable.
Well said, Pierre. Well said.
Mr. Speaker, if the Leader of the Opposition wants to present an actual plan to fight climate change, we'd love to see it. But he has refused to take any
Oh, here you go. Look at all the clapping seals.
He even doesn't recognize
Not one person will stand up.
has a cost, which will only keep rising if we don't fight climate change, with extreme weather events and health impacts increasingly impacting on Canadians. Indeed, the Conservative leader thinks it should be free to pollute, and that we shouldn't be giving more money to Canadians through the Canada carbon rebate. We will continue to have an effective plan to fight climate change that is reducing emissions and putting more money back in Canadians' pockets with the CCR.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, since the Prime Minister introduced his carbon tax on the farmers who grow the food and the truckers who ship the food, it has raised the price on all who buy the food, with a record-smashing 2 million visits to food banks every single year. 50% of Canadians buying food past best before dates. 20% of them have gotten sick as a result of it. The Prime Minister promised that he was going to help the middle class and those working hard to join it. Now, the so-called middle class can't afford food and homes. Is that what he meant by help?
Brutal, man.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, according to the Parliamentary Budget Officer, 8 out of 10 Canadians, middle-income and lower-income Canadians primarily, do better with the Canada carbon rebate that lands in their bank accounts 4 times a year because of the price of pollution.
Missing disinformation.
Actually cared about affordability and supporting vulnerable Canadians, he'd be standing up to support our measure on dental care, which has now delivered dental care to 30,000 vulnerable seniors across this country already in just a few weeks. He would be supporting our initiatives to help families. He'd be supporting our initiatives to help with childcare.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Oh, we have to do this all over again with him. The Parliamentary Budget Officer produced a report. I'm going to read the title so that he can Google it right now, Mr. Speaker. It is called The Parliamentary Budget Officer's Report on the Distribution of Costs and Benefits under the Carbon Pricing Program. He can look at page 3. Where every single province that has the tax sees middle-class Canadians and 60% of families paying more in tax than they get back in benefits. Why won't he get to know the facts and axe the tax?
Oh! Drop some W's in the chat, folks. Pierre ain't messing around today.
The opposition's campaign to simply axe the facts. We are going to continue to stand with the science, the evidence.
That's so cringe.
The economists who have all pointed out, including the Parliamentary Budget Officer,
Facts the facts.
Canada carbon rebate puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 families in the jurisdictions across the country in which it is, and is effective in bringing down our emissions while creating economic growth as we invest in cleaner technology and good jobs and careers for the future. We have a plan for the economy and the environment. He does not.
I've got secondhand embarrassment from Trudeau's comment.
I'm going to ask members, please. I know sometimes that members don't like hearing the question or the answer, but I'm asking all members, please, the only one who is standing up to, recognized by the Speaker, has the right to stand up and to ask the question. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, with his comedy routine, I was going to say that he shouldn't quit his day job, but actually, he should quit his day job.
To do the chat.
He shouldn't go into number crunching, whatever his next job is, because he doesn't believe the economy is about numbers. And I don't blame him, because if I had his economic record, I wouldn't want to talk about numbers either. But it might help him to go to the library and quietly study just a little bit. Will he commit to reading page 3 of the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report, which demonstrates Canadians pay more than they get back in the tax?
Oh my God!
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Parliamentary Budget Officer and far many more experts and economists have clearly demonstrated that the money that returns to Canadians through the Canada Carbon Rebate 4 times a year is greater than 8 out of 10 Canadians pay every year with the price on pollution. Those are the simple facts, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to invest in Canadians. We will continue to support with affordability. We will continue to put the best balance sheet in the G7 in the service of Canadians through investments and support, unlike the cuts he's proposing.
Here we go, Pierre.
Leader of the Opposition.
After 9 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the corporate crime and corruption. According to the Criminal Intelligence Service, there is $113 billion a year of money laundering. That's the equivalent of twice the entire GDP of Nova Scotia. And that money laundering, all of it here in Canada, drives up housing costs, it pays for drugs and stolen cars. Why is it that the Americans had to be the ones to catch TD and charge them with money laundering linked to fentanyl? Why didn't our federal government crack down on that?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is obviously a very concerning situation. We're making sure that all the appropriate authorities are properly engaged. We know that we need to continue to invest in our national policing. We need to continue to invest in our intelligence services, and that's exactly what this government has been doing and will continue to do. Unlike the previous Conservative government that cut policing, that cut intelligence services, we will continue to be investing in keeping Canadians safe, in countering the rise of organized crime.
If they're not doing their job,
making sure that people are confident about the future we're growing into.
It might be worth cutting off loose ends, right?
The Honourable
Cutting funding to things that aren't working.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal member for Glengarry Prescott Russell used crass language to Quebec witnesses who had come to defend the French language. This is not just a Liberal member. He is also the chair of the Parliamentary Association of the Francophonie, in fact, a diplomat representing Canada. He has only one single choice, and that is to resign. Will the Prime Minister call for the resignation of this member to show respect for La Francophonie?
Whoa! Oh! Wow!
The Right Honourable
That's
Prime Minister.
a bold
Mr.
thing.
Speaker, we can see the reaction of the Francophone members in the Conservative Party when the leader finally is showing concern about French in Canada. We are here to defend La Francophonie. We are here to defend the French fact across Canada. And the member apologized. He withdrew his remarks. But we're also seeing is that their own heritage critic was unable to defend Radio-Canada when a direct question was put. We know that the Conservatives want to cut CBC funding, and they should say so clearly. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Mr. Speaker, he's the one who's cutting funding to Radio-Canada CBC, and we are the ones who are going to protect Radio-Canada at CBC. And we're going to conserve jobs at CBC. Mr. Speaker, why does this Prime Minister continue
That was a little confusing.
to defend
I thought Pierre was saying he was going to defund them.
for CBC bureaucrats? Because Canadians want nothing to do with this. Why don't they protect Radio-Canada services instead of bonuses? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, there is no one who speaks French in this country who thinks that the Conservatives are going to defend Radio-Canada. That's a joke. They know full well that the ideological opposition of the Conservative Party to public broadcasters is deeply rooted, and they know full well that the cuts to CBC Radio Canada are going to come if a Conservative government is elected. And that's why they know that they have to fight the Conservative ideology. But I urge the Conservative leader to say in English what he has just said in French.